I am Debbie Guy-Geesh, and I'd like to thank you all for joining TPG's live stream simulcast called Revenues. Now, tonight, it's all about my show, and my show is called Get Real with Revenue Marketing. And you know what? Since it's Sunday, sit back, relax, grab a drink, and let's get to it. You know, the term revenue marketing has been around for quite some time. And so what I thought I would do in the next few minutes is kind of tell you the creation story for how this all came about. Let me go see if I can go forward with my slides. Here we go. And you know, for me, it all started when I had a CEO ask me, he said, Debbie, what are you going to do about revenue marketing? So this was in 2004, and I had gone to work for a really cool technology company based in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was hired as the VP of marketing, reporting into the CEO. Now, prior to coming to work for this company, for many years, my entire career was in sales. I was a commodities broker for Merrill Lynch for 10 years. I carried a bag. I have run national, international sales teams. And as a VP of sales, I also took care of marketing a time or two as well. But in this one company in 2004, I was the VP of sales. And so Rusty, that was my CEO, comes into my office one day. That's when we used to have offices with doors and desk and everything. And he sits down across from me and he looks me straight in the eye and he says, Debbie, what are you going to do about revenue? Well, I just started laughing. I said, you know, Rusty, it says VP of marketing on the door out there. He says, I understand. He said, but if there's some way you can, you know, find out if there's something that you can do to help us with revenue, that would be great. And with that question, that's really where my journey began. So I went out into the market. I called some friends. One of them was Jim Dickey, who had a company called CSO Insights for many years. And I said, Jim, you know, who could I talk to? What's going on that might help marketing, you know, impact revenue? And he says, Deb, he says, you need to go talk to this company called Eloqua. So I called Eloqua. And I'll tell you this, I'll never forget my first marketing automation demo. It was in the spring of 2004. And I remember this meeting like it was almost yesterday. It was spring. It had just rained. Our conference room was too small for all the people that we had in it. But the Eloqua rep came in and started showing us this incredible technology. And I said, oh my God, this is going to change marketing and it's going to change sales forever. So I bought Eloqua, and again in 2004, that was the only game in town. And I also bought Salesforce, had those two things integrated. And for me, it was always about revenue. And actually in 2004, we scored a couple of very, very large deals through marketing efforts and really helped turn the company around that year. So that's how that journey began. And so again, maybe because I have a sales background, that's why I always think about, you know, marketing is all about sales. But I don't think that that's a shared idea, but I think it needs to be. So let me continue with my journey. And let me get this mouse over here. Hold on a minute. There we go. And so I began to work with Jeff Pedowitz. I became a partner in 2007. And even back in 2007, we knew that we had a very, very different kind of market. We knew there was something exciting and that there was this power that was coming into the hands of marketing. And so we kept playing around and trying to come up with names for it. And so actually late in 2009, I came up with the term revenue marketing. And then in early 2010, I wrote a white paper. I began to do presentations on it. And I remember vividly back in the day, whenever we would tell someone, start talking about revenue marketing, we would get one of two reactions. They would either look at us like we had just grown a second head or we were speaking Sanskrit, or they would say, that is really interesting. Tell me more about that. So we knew that it was something that was relevant to the market. And this is an old, a very old PowerPoint. And you can see I did this one in February 2010, and I just had the, just the standard, art. And but look at what I had for the agenda. The journey begins, marketing's new revenue obligation, the definitions. I talked about the revenue marketing team. I introduced some revenue marketers. And then I asked people, what are they going to do about revenue? So even back in 2009 and 2010, the idea that marketing, because of this technology that was happening, could somehow be more accountable for revenue was very, very much a part of who I am. And so let's fast forward to 2011. Now, in 2011, I was asked by Marketo to be part of their 14-city speaking tour. And if any of you guys might remember the Marketo's Revenue Rockstar Road Show. And so we were speaking in 14 cities, and I was the kickoff speaker in every city. And we had already been talking about revenue marketing, for some time by then, excuse me. And, but I, in my mind, had kind of like a maturity journey in mind based on how I had seen marketers transform, in these early days of the market. And so we were actually in Austin, Texas, and that's where the whole Revenue Rockstar Road Show was kicking off. And I am a procrastinator. It's not my best habit, but I do admit to it. And I remember I was staying at the W Hotel in Austin, Texas, and it was late at night. And I had kept playing around with this idea of presenting a maturity model to talk about revenue marketing and to talk about the state of marketing. So that night I put together, those stupid little clip art chevrons. I'll show them to you in just a minute. And I remember I called for coffee at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and the person who brought the coffee to my room, she slipped me a note underneath my coffee cup, and she said, you can do it, good luck tomorrow, which I thought was great because she knew I was all like, panicked over exactly what I was going to say. But I put together this clip art, right? And I said, look, there's 4 stages of marketing to become a revenue marketer. It's traditional, it's lead gen, it's demand gen, and it's revenue marketing. And magic absolutely happened that day. Number one, the speaker right after me began to talk in terms of this stage or that stage and talking about revenue marketing. And then once all the speeches were over and we began to engage with our audience, I had marketers come up to me and say, Debbie, we're in this stage and we want to go to that stage. So I knew very early in 2011 that this model, number one, revenue marketing was a thing, and that the revenue marketing journey made sense. And since then, thousands of marketers have seen this particular model, and it just makes sense. So let me take you through the revenue marketing journey model as it is today. And as I'm talking about it, think about where you are and think about maybe where you need to be. So again, the 4 stages are traditional marketing, lead generation, demand generation, and revenue marketing. So traditional marketing is really all about the 4 Ps. It's really what they're still teaching in college, unfortunately. They don't do such a great job of teaching the real world of marketing. I'm hopeful that they'll get there soon. But it's really about building brand. It's about the 4 Ps. A traditional marketing organization is a cost center. It's the type of organization that drives the CFO out of her mind because she has no idea where all the money goes. It's just a black pit of money. And there's no relationship with the sales organization. It really is measured based on cost and maybe sometimes on activity. Did you get the website up, and those kinds of things. And so if we fast forward a little bit, the next stage of maturity is really lead generation. And when I first developed this model, and let me see if I have a copy of my book here. Yeah, I've got one. I actually published this book in 2013 called Rise of the Revenue Marketer. But even since 2013, this model has changed slightly, and I'm talking through the changes. But in the lead generation stage, it used to be marketers would buy like some kind of ESP or an email, but now they're straight out buying marketing automation, very sophisticated systems, which unfortunately are about as useful as a doorstop to marketing. But they're using this technology and they're saying, wow, look at us. We can create all these leads and we can send them over to sales. And aren't we great? And we know the story. Sales is not following up with these leads because they don't feel like they are qualified. And in fact, a lot of damage is done between the sales and marketing relationship at that lead generation stage because it's too often not done very well. So from a measurement standpoint, a lead generation organization has some technology in place and they're responsible for leads that are not followed up on. And so they're measured by number of leads sent to sales and also cost per lead, really. So it's really still not quite where they need to be. Now, exciting things begin to happen in the demand generation part of the journey. And this is a long stage, I'm gonna tell you. A lot of things happen here. First of all, you have a fairly sophisticated MarTech stack. And we work with organizations that have 40, 50, 60, different pieces of technology. And quite often, marketing is spending more money on technology than the IT department is. And we're also seeing the MarTech being tightly integrated with the sales systems and other systems that matter, especially when it comes to data about the customer. We're seeing an organization that is much more customer-centric. They tend to be more product-centric in that lead generation stage, whereas in the demand generation stage, they're more focused on the customer. And this is the stage where marketing can really shine because you have so much rich data that's real-time about what customers think, feel, and what they respond to. We see, you are marketing and having conversations wherever your customer, wherever your client is, wherever that is. And most importantly, sales and marketing create a revenue team. And the focus is very much on digital revenue, meaning how do you use digital techniques and digital technologies to engage with that customer all the way through their entire life cycle, all the way to advocacy. The metrics are very different in the demand generation stage. Here, marketers are responsible for percent contribution to the pipeline. They're responsible for percent contribution or a dollar number for actual closed business. And so this is where you see in the demand generation stage, marketers really becoming early revenue marketers. Now, the last stage, of course, is where you want to be. That is being at the revenue marketing stage. And of course, this is an area that is optimized, but it's also constantly changing. I mean, nothing stays the same in the world of marketing for very long. But the biggest difference between what happens in the demand gen stage and the revenue marketing stage is this. As a CMO of an organization, when I go into the board meeting, if I'm running a demand generation organization, then I report on what we did last quarter, what contribution to pipeline, contribution to closed business, okay? If I am the CMO of a revenue marketing organization, I walk in with the VP of sales, and together we have not only a report of what happened last quarter, but we have a forecast of what we will deliver in the upcoming quarter. So you can see it's a very different place. And again, this model has been shared with thousands of marketers. And I like looking at it because it not only gives you an idea from how your marketing department needs to run, but also for a lot of folks, it is very symbolic of their careers as well. You may start out as a traditional marketer, work in lead gen, demand gen, and then of course you really want to be in that revenue marketing space because that's the place to be. So here's my working definition of revenue marketing today. And, if you would like a copy of this book, it's Debbie@pedowitzgroup.com. I'll be happy to send you an e-copy. Just let me know. But the definition that I have here is not the same definition I have today because, of course, revenue marketing has changed. And so the working definition for today is revenue marketing is the process of transforming marketing from a cost center to a repeatable, predictable, and scalable, RPS, revenue machine powered by digital transformation and accelerated by customer centricity. And at the end of the day, what I'm talking about and what my entire show is going to be about is recoding the DNA of marketing. It's time to change. You can no longer stick your head in the sand and not accept these great opportunities and responsibilities that are within your reach now. I mean, think about it. Wouldn't you rather be a data insights business unit than the pens and mugs department? Wouldn't you rather be a revenue partner with sales than being the sales support team? Wouldn't you rather be a revenue predictor than just an event producer? And finally, wouldn't you rather be, let me get this last one on here because it's covered up, wouldn't you rather be a revenue center than a cost center? So the name of my show is Get Real with Revenue Marketing, and that is exactly what we're going to do. Twice a week, Wednesdays at 12 and Sundays at, I think, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. You know, I'm going to spend 15 or 20 minutes with you talking about what's real in the world of revenue marketing and what you can do about it. So with that, I hope you all have a great evening. And again, this is part of TPG's Revenues simulcast broadcast. And just remember, it is a great day to be a revenue marketer. Y'all have a great evening. And cheers.